I'm Debbie.
And I'm Alison.
And we're the Poltergals. Spooky.
Hi, I'm Alison.
And I'm Debbie.
And we're the Poltergals.
As you guys can see, we're back in the Undercroft.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening, you obviously can't see, but you should.
You
Go
should.
and check us out on YouTube, guys.
Yes.
One of our videos got, like, not to brag, 171 views.
Yeah.
Which, like, for us is, like, we're basically famous, like, all the way. No, I'm literally joking. But please go watch us on YouTube.
Yes. It's, you can see the dorkiness that happens in the...
You can see the dorkiness. Just if you want to experience it in all of its forms. But if you're still listening to us on audio, we love you.
We still love you just as
do a little
much.
heart with me.
And the dead flowers.
There you
It's
go.
so cute.
Yeah, it's really cute. Maybe I can post a picture too on our social media if you guys missed it, so you can see how cute we are with our little velvet couches, our little dead flowers, our little cute books that we have on display.
Yes.
Allison, what do you want to share? How have you been? What have you been up to?
You know, the usual.
My day's been terrible. Anything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Which is also partially why we're recording here.
Yay.
Because let's just say upstairs it's interesting. So if you hear a bunch of walking and stomping and...
It's not ghosts. It's actual people.
It's real people, living people, not the dead. Promise.
But yeah, and then I even, like, she came to me and I still made her wait an hour. So
I mean,
that's how important of a person I am. I'm just kidding.
With what? You're a plumber?
I know. I'm literally doing plumbing today. What is my life? If you guys listen to the podcast, you just know that, like, Debbie's going through it. That's all you need to know. My year, like, at the end of the year, everything's, like, going downhill. And, like, with Allison, everything's, like, going uphill. So, like, we're figuring things out, guys.
Yeah, I feel like I went through this, like last week.
Yeah, like we're, like, trading off. So only one of us could be in a bad mood while the other one's in a good mood.
Yes. Which is fine because sometimes our recordings put the other person in a good mood.
Yeah,
so
see?
it works out.
And that's why we're here.
Out.
We're here today to get you guys in a good mood. We're going to talk about some spooky
Yes.
stuff. Oh, yeah, and this should be recorded actually next week's Thanksgiving, guys.
Yes.
So if you're tuning in, you're probably trying to get away from your family, get away from your mom, get away from your dog, get away from your racist aunt and homophobic uncle.
Speaking of that, speaking of color, this is actually coming out on Black Friday.
Black Friday!
Yeah!
Is that why we were doing Somewhere in Jamaica?
Yes.
Yep, that's totally why we chose this episode, guys. So that's great.
Yeah, so it's actually Rose Hall in Jamaica.
Ooh.
So despite the name being different on here, which we
realized
earlier.
We cut that part out.
But yes, it is a
Jamaican me happy.
Yes. So if you need to be just happy, we're here to...
We're here to
make that happen.
To drink some pina coladas, sit on the beach, and have a good holiday.
Oof.
Not where it's cold.
No.
Which
means, Texas, it's
not like cold, but it is cold.
I mean, as you can tell, I'm wearing a t-shirt, so cold enough for me to wear jeans and a t-shirt normally, but I did bring a jacket. I'm just not wearing it.
That's all right. All right, are you ready to get started, Allison?
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So, This hall is one of the most famous great houses in Jamaica.
Ooh.
It is the subject of at least a dozen Gothic novels.
You know me, I love a Gothic novel. I love anything with the word Gothic in it.
Yeah, so if you could see her house, you would understand because it's like a Gothic eccentric house.
I
pretty
literally
much
have bats in my hallway and a coffin shelf.
Yes.
So if that means anything to you guys. That means anything.
It's just a tad spooky.
Just a little bit, but like spooky in a cute way. Spooky cute.
So, Gothic eccentric novels. It is immortalized in the H.G. D. Leeser book, White Witch of Rose Hall. Yes.
Wow, the White Witch, not a woman in white.
I know.
I'm so happy.
I know.
I mean, I guess I assume since it is Is it white magic or is it like a white witch?
Is she dressed in white?
Is she dressed in white or does she do white magic? We'll never know.
That's a great question. I guess we have to find out.
I guess we'll find out later. Don't worry about it.
So the house was built in 1778 to 1790 by John Palmer, a wealthy British planter. At its peak, this was a 2,640-acre plantation, which was, it says extra, which actually comes out to a 6,521-acre plantation with more than 2,000 slaves.
Oof.
However, it was Annie Palmer, wife of the builder,
her grandnephew.
Yes, her grandnephew, who became a focal point of fiction and fact,
Ooh.
called Infamous Annie. She was said to have dabbled in witchcraft. She took slaves as lovers and then killed them off when they bored her. Mm-hmm. So, not dabbled in white magic.
Don't like that at all.
No. The servants called her the Abba woman, which Abba in Jamaican is voodoo. So it's basically voodoo woman.
Love a black magic woman.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
I just think of that Santana song. I know copyright reasons we can't play that right now, but that's what's playing in my head.
I'm not gonna lie, that is one of my favorite songs that he has.
Santana.
Yes.
Masterpiece.
Golden for such a for a black magic woman song. It is golden.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, I guess it fits, but also this is sad and depressing.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
So Annie was said to have murdered several of her husbands while they slept, and eventually suffered the same fate herself. Long in ruins, the house has now been restored. Annie's pub is on the ground floor. The White Witch of Rose Hall, Annie Peterson, a 18-year-old Spitfire, measured only at 4'11".
Just like Alison.
Yeah.
Only 4'11".
Listen, I can't help it.
You're so tiny and small and little and petite.
So, yes, my height person.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sad. Why are all the short people, why are all witches short and crazy?
That explains a lot, Alison. Explains a lot. But yeah, so someone the same size as you.
She arrived at the Rose Great House near Montego Bay on March 28th of 1820.
Back in the 1800s.
Yeah,
that's how you know things are going to get spooky.
That's what I'm saying. Everything good happens in the 1800s.
Yep, that's
Let me tell you.
Spooky.
All the good spooky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. She took up residence with her new husband, the Honorable John Palmer. Mm-hmm. And it's said that the house affected her badly from the moment she entered it.
Oof.
She was actually born in 1802 in England and is half English, half Irish. She moved to Haiti with her merchant parents when she was 10. Mm-hmm. And they died shortly after from yellow fever. She was adopted by her Haitian nanny, who is rumored to be a voodoo priestess. Ooh. And educated her young and charged with the arts of the occult. When the nanny died, the young lady came to Jamaica to hunt for husbands.
Ooh.
So, several months after her marriage, when her husband discovered her affair with a young slave, he is said to have beaten her with a riding whip.
Oh no, that's not good at all.
Yeah, so it's kind of sad, and she probably had a very big reason to do this.
Listen, I would also murder my husband if they beat me.
So then he actually died that night.
What?
He died that night from beating her.
That's suspicious.
Before long, rumors started swirling that his young wife had poisoned his coffee.
Yep.
With her husband buried, Annie began a reign of terror at Rose Hall. Ooh. Fearing her slave lover might blackmail her, she watched from the back of a black horse while he secretly tied, gagged, and flogged to death. Legend says that she then began to drift into legion after legion, with one slave after another. But she was fickle. When her lovers bored her, she would then kill them.
Oh my god.
partially because of her training in the occult arts during a childhood with that nanny in Haiti. Her servants called her, of course, Voodoo Woman, like I said before. Mm-hmm. And she is thought to be the daughter of the devil and the White Witch of Rose Hall. Oh. Although some scholars claim that they can produce no evidence of this legendary figure's cruelty or even of any sorts of like evidence
against
backing these claims.
So like she would just be like, yeah, I murdered a bunch of I feel like there would be evidence of like all the people she murdered. I mean, like, I guess if they were slave lovers, like there might not have been evidence for the slaves, but I mean, like,
this is also back in the 1800s.
I mean, that's true. Like, how much recorded history do we actually have from that?
I'm sure that this is when a lot of history was being recorded. Yeah. Like, starting to, but not everything.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. And that's just so sad to think about. But, I mean, also, again, like, being raised that way and then having a husband that beat you. And then, so, I mean, like, I understand and I want to sympathize, but also, like, cruelty is not okay. No. And, like, that's not good. And no.
It's one of those things that it's a lot of stuff stacked up on top of each other that is reasonable for her to break. Mm-hmm. But is it really enough to have affairs with people and then because they did not satisfy you to just go kill them off?
Yeah, or like what we talked about with what the other castle we talked about, like literally it was just a woman trying to run her home and they called her a witch just because of that. So maybe I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit of truth in everything, but also men just hate women, so especially in both ways.
Yeah, especially in this time period. It's one of those things that women did not have any kind of rights. Yeah. And with the slightest bit of power shown, people just bash them. Yeah. It's like, and we, even in American history, it was, 1960s? Yeah. When women, if that.
I mean, in the 20s, when they got the right to vote. But like, not until the 60s, when there was Civil War, whenever really people started listening to women. And then,
and it was just like, of course.
And that's just in America.
Yeah, like, that's just America.
There are other places in the world
that women still don't have a voice, and it's sad that when they start to speak up, they
just get labeled. Yeah. And I mean, they get labeled a witch or a witch with the B at the beginning. Yeah. Or anything. Like, it's just, it's systematic. And again, I feel like we talk about this a lot of the times on the episodes. Yeah. But, like, just because of what they did, like, you can see why they did things, but you should still not, like, glamorize it. And you should still not like what they were doing. And, like, that does not give them an excuse for the negative things they did.
Yeah,
you know?
It's still not okay for someone to go over and, like, if you think about it, if, like, we're both married, if our husbands were over there, you know, beating us and whatever, it's still not okay for us to go kill them.
I maybe would,
but I might be tempted.
I might be tempted. But I you know, it's just kind of like, again, like the situations you're in. Yeah. And back in the 1800s, again, there wasn't a lot of things you could do when you were a woman.
Like, I understand, like you said, situations are different, and there's still men and women in situations that their significant other are treating them that way, and they're scared of leaving. Yeah. Which is understandable, but, you know, it's finding a system or someone to listen to.
Yeah. And this is why this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Just kidding.
Not really.
We don't still. Hey, we did get that 171 views on our YouTube channel. Yes. So if people start viewing it, go like, subscribe, download right now. Right now, yes, do it. This is our impromptu commercial break, so we can get a BetterHelp to finally sponsor us.
Yes.
Okay, just kidding. Well, Alison, back to the story. We can step down from our soapbox now.
So her story, like we were saying, was glamorized and has been the subject of countless paperback Gothic novels. Mm-hmm. When Miss Palmer was found strangled in her bed in 1831, evidence surfaced that the murder was Taku, a freed slave seeking vengeance for a curse that Annie, in a fit of jealous rage, had placed on his beloved granddaughter, which had caused that granddaughter to wither and die.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. So it's, again, understandable, but still not acceptable.
And then she was murdered.
Yes.
And here is the crime.
Yes. So as her household servants, as well as the overseer of her plantation, Ashman, who recorded most of the grisly events in his diary, just wanted her buried as soon as possible, in the deepest hole they could possibly dig. Fearing her return from the dead, the household servants hastily burned most of her possessions, fearing that they were permanent with remnants of her spirit.
They thought they were straight up Horcruxes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So some Voldemort crap going on.
So she really they really thought she'd be Voldemort.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Man, is that where this came from?
I think so.
Oh no.
I mean, it came from folklore and supernatural, so I mean, it happens.
Yeah. So
they burned all her Horcruxes.
They burned what they believe was Horcruxes.
Uh-huh.
And evidence of the building being haunted grew stronger as a succession of tragedies befell on most of the subsequent owners.
Ooh.
So owning this property was not the greatest after her death.
So don't do it.
No.
So if someone's like, hey, you want to come by Rose Hall? Just be like, nah, I'm good. I'll pass on this one.
Yes.
But yeah, so from scandal and murder to being murdered herself, and now a history of hauntings.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. Well, time for a quick commercial break.
Commercial break.
Yeah. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Spooky. Hi, this episode's brought to you by, what was it brought to you by today, Alison? My plumber?
Yeah.
Shout out to plumbersrs.com. I don't actually know what their plumbing name was.
But plumbers, because apparently we need you when bathrooms flood.
To deal with our actual literal shit. Thanks.
Sorry that you had to put up with people's shit.
On the daily. Like,
quite literally.
Thanks. We appreciate your job, and we will not be able to have a functioning society without it.
Yes.
All right.
You
ready?
Yep. And now, back to the show.
Spooky.
All right, and now we are back. So there's not very many hauntings, so I'm going to give a quick little rundown of what we just talked about. So, of course, Annie Palmer, who is said to haunt it, which, as we found out in the history, why. She was owner of this plantation, and of course she was born in Haiti to an English mother and an Irish father who spent much of their life in Haiti. When her parents passed of yellow fever, she was adopted by her nanny that lived there, who taught her witchcraft and voodoo. She then moved to Jamaica and married John Palmer, who was the owner of Rose Hall Plantation. She then murdered Palmer, along with 2 subsequent husbands and numerous male plantation slaves that she was having an affair with. Later being murdered herself by a slave named Taku. A song about the legend called The Ballad of Annie Palmer was recorded by Johnny Cash.
Wow, good job, Johnny Cash.
And then for many years, Cash owned the nearby Cinnamon Hill Great House. So that's another
I didn't
interesting,
know that.
Yeah, interesting little fact.
That's a fun fact for the week.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
So a lot of these are just kind of like tours, but
yeah.
So,
of course, there are tours now. So, we love a good tour of a spooky place. So visitors have a few choices for touring the estate. The Rose Hall Great House and the garden tour is only $18 and offers daytime views of the property and its garden. The day tour highlights the gorgeous gardens and the spectacular estate offerings. And then, of course, there is a ghost tour. So there's the Braving the Night tour. So at night, the hall stands as a stark reminder of his murderous former mistress. The Rose Hall Great House Haunted Tour is also $18 and offers an evening of spooky fun. You can catch a glimpse of the White Witch herself as she roams the 18th century sugar plantation. That is, if the seances don't already bring her to you. That's right. They do seances. So
I don't think that's the greatest idea when you have a voodoo witch on the property.
Yeah, do a seance. Like if you are like, there's a witch that's on the property, be like, let me just pop out a seance real fast. Let me just get my little seances out, and we'll do that. Guides will also point out the supposed locations of underground tunnels. So again, this is in Jamaica on Montego Bay. So there's supposedly some underground tunnels that you can go in. And then also the bloodstains. So this has a bloodstained past, as we previously mentioned, from all of the murders that happened on this location for true enough crime. Is this crime true enough for you? But yeah, so they'll actually point out the bloodstains and the rooms where the three husbands actually met their unfortunate ends. So they're like, and in this room, he died. And in this room, you can see where this guy died. And over here, you can see where this guy died. So you'll literally just go through all the rooms to see, and they'll like walk you through it all in the tour. And maybe you'll get a chance to maybe see one of the past husbands as well.
I could imagine them nonchalantly being like, oh yeah, and then this room is where Mr. Palmer died.
Yeah, just casually.
Blah, 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 blah,
and to your right, you will see his ghost in the left corner.
And then as we move to the second room, this is where her second husband died. It's like, why are you so calm about this?
Yeah, and actually many people on these tours believe those that see the witch will then meet their own unfortunate end. So if they're like, so so-and-so died over here, and you're like, I just saw a witch over in that corner, like, that's not good for you. No. So you are probably going to meet your own unfortunate end. But yeah. And then, of course, they have where you can tour Johnny Cash's home. So back on our little tidbit. So that's why Allison had to share it earlier.
Yeah.
Just so we could talk about it. Because why wouldn't we want to talk about that?
Of course. Got it.
So, of course.
Wait.
What?
Is that the Ring of Fire?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
I'm scared.
Run
for your life. But yeah, so anyway, back to the Johnny Cash tour. So if ghost tours aren't your thing, which I don't know why you're listening to this podcast if ghost tours aren't your thing,
but just in case,
but if they aren't your cup of tea, you can also enjoy the vacation home of Johnny Cash and June Carter, which is adorable. And the couple lived on the estate at Cinnamon Hall for years, and then back in 1973, Johnny Cash wrote, of course, again, the ballad of Annie Palmer, based off of this whole story.
Yes.
The White Witch of Voodoo. Earlier I was like, oh yeah, I have Black Magic Woman by Santana in my head. I should have had this song in my head. I didn't even think about this song until you brought it up.
Well, you're welcome.
And again, we can't play it because it's not.
Of course.
We can't do that. Sorry, guys.
Of course.
So just go Google it for yourselves.
At least we're mentioning it.
Yeah, we're mentioning it. Go put it in your Spotify right now, listen to it, and then come back to the rest of the episode. We only have a couple words left. Or just wait till the end. Just wait till the end and then go.
Hold those horses.
Hold your horses.
Hold the horses.
Hold those spooky horses in the stable, in your spooky stable. But again, he wrote the Ballad of Annie Palmer about the ruthless slave owner and murdering mistress of Rose Hall. Cash family pictures still hang on the walls inside of the Cinnamon Hall, and Johnny's shoes await him for arrival at the back door. Oh, that's so sad. I wonder if they still are there. And then actually locals report sightings of June and Johnny and bring a more uplifting feel to some of the sorrow in the area. So, again, this episode was a little dark and spooky and true crimey. So we had to bring it up with Johnny Cash in the end. So it's kind of nice that we get to talk about a very well-rounded location. And again, you're trying to get away from your family. We're in Jamaica. Think of your beaches. Maybe not think about people who murder other people. That's probably not a good thing to think about during the holiday. Well, it's sad.
Hey, but if you're listening to this, it's because you want to forget the holidays.
Yeah, forget about the holidays, y'all.
So, why bother?
Why'd I say y'all like that?
I don't know. Maybe because you're a Texan.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Poltergals. Yeah. Again, as we mentioned earlier in our not commercial break, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Yeah. Check us out on YouTube at Rogue Media Network. And then don't forget to follow us everywhere at The Poltergals.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to The Poltergals,
a Rogue Media Network podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.